This week on Pit Stop with Don and James, we welcome back Jim Strong filling in for Don. We look back at our favorite moments of Baku races gone by, and we give our thoughts on what we think could happen in the upcoming race. Welcome to Pit Stop with Don and James. I'm James, and we do not have Don with us, but we welcome back again to the podcast my dad, Jim Strong. Hey.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Hey, how's it going?
It's always a good
Yeah,
time.
it's always a great time. We are on a bye week at the moment,
Yeah.
and Don is out getting a hair transplant. So we wish him well and the best of luck with getting the hair transplant completed. We hope there's no crazy scarring, and
Yeah.
it looks good. He's gone all the way to Turkey for it, and we wish him well.
Okay.
Uh, so we are in the middle of the Grand Prix. We just recently had the Italian Grand Prix over at Monza,
Yeah.
and we are looking forward to Baku. But you weren't here last week, so maybe do you have any insights that you'd like to give on the Italian Grand Prix? Anything you liked? Anything that stood out to you?
I'll tell you what I didn't like.
Yeah, that's a good one.
How about the papaya team orders?
Oh yeah, I know that was a big hang up for me as well. But
Not a fan of
they
that, but
are
I,
they
I
are
will
part of the
say,
team.
yeah, I will say that when it happened, I was like, oh man, they're doing Lando dirty.
Yeah, poor Lando, man. He got stuck with it. We last week we went back and we discussed what happened in Hungary. I think it was Hungary last year is what they made a reference to, and
Right.
it's a little more understanding last year as team orders and team strategy really ruined the race. So the switch, it's a little more lenient, but for this one, like it's just the luck of the draw on this one.
Yeah, it
Like
was
it's
just
just
luck of the drawing.
happenstance. I think they should have just raced.
Agree. Agree.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, it was a bummer for sure, but Max Verstappen pulling out a win, sort of a rare
Yeah.
feat this year.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Max fan, but was happy to see him win, actually.
Yeah, it was a nice little shakeup to watching Lando and Oscar sort of dominate this season.
Yes. Nobody wants to see that.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, okay. I am actually.
I'm totally happy seeing one team dominate as long as it's not consecutive years in a row. Then it's a little tiresome.
Yeah, I don't know. Not a fan, but okay.
No, all right. Well, since we have Baku coming up, we thought we would um, kind of look backwards at Baku and kind of relive some of our favorite moments from years gone by. Just a little history on Baku. I believe it is the second longest track on the F1 calendar, right behind Spa. I say right behind. I think it's a full kilometer shorter than Spa, but still the second longest track on the F1 calendar, and it was first introduced in 2016, so a relatively new track. What are your thoughts? Do you actually like this track?
Uh, I kind of dig it. Um, it looks it looks very narrow on TV, though. I don't know if
It does look
that's
very narrow on TV.
I don't know if that's just a. I want to say tight. It looks very tight. I don't know if that's just when you're looking at it through the onboard cameras. Um, then that's when it kind of looks narrow.
Yeah, I'll say turn two looks pretty narrow, but I think they can really run three wide, going pretty much everywhere down the track except for around the castle section. But I mean, this track has everything that I love. It's got a long straight. It's got tight 90-degree turns. It's got elevation change. Uh, and that area around the castle, a nice little tricky part added to it. So, I the only thing for me that it's really missing is a hairpin. I like a good hairpin, but other than that, I think the track's great. It always lends itself to really good racing because it's got that long run down to turn one, and then it's a 90-degree turn followed by another 90-degree turn, and
Yeah.
then when they run back down the straight, it's another 90-degree turn.
Yes.
Like it's a lot of flat out heavy running, and then a lot of hard braking to get to
Right.
the apex of the corner. So it creates a lot of opportunity for passing and really tight knit racing.
Yeah, agree on the especially turn one, that hard left. Um, I mean, if you're brave, you can you can go down the inside and try to outbrake some people there. And people have done it, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But
Yeah, it is a street circuit, not unlike Monaco. There's not a lot of room for error, and over the weekend, you'll generally see people, you know, rubbing tires against the wall, and a few suspensions broken and drivetrains broken from this track. So, um, but for me, out of all the years that they've ran, there's really been 3 years that stood out to me. Every year has had something happen. But the years that I really want to focus on are 2017, 2018, and then again in 2021. Those would be my 3 big years. And I know you went back. Maybe you want to share some of your favorite moments from years gone by, or one of them.
well, I had 2017, 2018, and 2021. Should we start with
So the same
2017?
years that I had.
Yeah. Um,
The same years.
did you say you did say 2018?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
2017, 2018, and 2021. So we picked the same years.
Same years. Okay. Well, that's pretty random and coincidental. Favorite moment from 2017?
Man, there's a lot to choose from. I will say, going back and rewatching all these races this week, uh, I I always kind of forget like who was where at that time, and seeing a lot of names that are no longer with us. But
Seeing
there were a
people in
lot of
completely different liveries.
right, like Carlos Sainz being in a Toro Rosso, or Marcus Ericsson. Marcus Ericsson, I think he was racing in Sauber at the time, and then of course Vettel and Ferrari. Uh, but Perez being at Force India and Ocon being at Force India,
Yeah.
former teammates. Looking back and seeing Felipe Massa at Williams, um, a lot of great names that have,
Yes.
that have come through, and a lot of great liveries. I really dug those liveries back then as well. Uh, but yeah, probably my favorite moment would probably be Hamilton brake checking Vettel
Oh.
while they are under yellow, because Vettel gets all upset and then totally rams right into Hamilton, before all under yellow. They looked at the telemetry, and I kind of watched some interviews afterwards and did a little digging, and they said that there was nothing wrong with Hamilton's telemetry. Like, everything showed like he was doing everything he could and was supposed to under yellow. So it was all Vettel's fault for kind of following just a little too closely and not really paying attention and trying to anticipate when he was going to go, and it just didn't work out for him. But yeah, a hot-headed Vettel. I will say he got a penalty from that. He got a 10-second stop and go for dangerous driving. Um, I don't really know if I'd call it dangerous driving. He seemed to know what he was doing. Maybe intentional driving would be better a better title. I think 10 seconds was a little harsh
Right.
um, for a stop and go penalty, which is a 10-second stop and go penalty in F1 is pretty rare on its own, anyways. And they weren't really at speed. I think they're going maybe 20, less than 20 miles an hour.
That's very, very
So
slow.
that yeah, and that was. What about you? You got a favorite moment?
Well, Daniel Ricciardo passing Stroll, Hulkenberg, and Massa all in one fell swoop. Uh, talk about late braking, right? He just kind of came down the inside and just took all three cars on at one shot, and just got heavy on the brakes. And you almost think he's going to hit that outside barrier, but he just pulled it off. It was a beautiful, beautiful pass.
You know what? That wasn't even the first time he did it in that race because earlier on he had a double overtake on Carlos Sainz and Marcus Ericsson into turn one.
Yeah,
Um, and then it was later on in the race that he one upped it and did three in one go.
yeah, greedy, but I like it.
Yeah, that was on the restart from the red flag. So
Right, right, right.
yeah, yeah, that was a really good one.
It's
But
it's it's
overall,
rare to
like,
see something like that though, so it's pretty beautiful.
yeah, I can't even remember the last time or anybody did that. But Ricardo was pretty well known for being really late on the brakes and really aggressive into like the slower turns. So definitely earned his place at Red Bull during that race, I would say.
Speaking of Mr. Stroll, first podium finish in 2017.
Yeah, it was his rookie year, and he almost had second, but Valtteri Bottas got him right at the line, right as they were coming across. So he took third, but still a podium in his rookie season
I mean,
for
that guy's
Williams,
turned into a
no
meme,
less.
and he takes a lot of grief, but he's not driving in the fastest car at the moment. So
No, he's never been at the fastest car. Um, yeah, he's had some bad luck, and he's also made some dumb mistakes, but it is what it is.
yeah,
But yeah, 2017 overall was a really good race. I mean, there was a lot of action, right? Because um, Kimi Räikkönen was still racing for Ferrari at that time. Him and Bottas had kind of a scuffle into turn two. There was Hamilton brake checking Vettel, um, Ocon and Perez coming together, teammates at the time coming together. Uh, and then Kimi Räikkönen got a puncture. And what was really crazy about that is they brought Kimi back into the pits to retire the car. And right as they're putting him into the garage, a red flag comes out and they make the repairs on the car and get him back out in time for the green. Like absolute legends from the mechanics to fix the
yeah,
car.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. And it also gave us the famous radio message of Kimi Räikkönen, where they're pushing him back onto the grid, coming out of the pits, and that's where he's like yelling at the mechanics, like, "Hey, tell him to give me my gloves! Tell him to give me my gloves! I need my
Gloves
steering wheel!" And he's like
and his
yelling at
steering wheel.
he's yelling at yeah, yelling at his mechanics the whole time. So it gave us that beautiful radio message. Um, but it really came down to the wire, right? Because I think it was Nico Rosberg won that race, right?
Yeah, I believe you are
Yeah, Nico
correct.
Rosberg. Yeah, he won that race. Um, but Vettel and Hamilton. Uh, so Vettel had to come in for his 10-second penalty, but Lewis Hamilton's headrest came undone, and he had to come into the pits to have it replaced with a new one, and that put him back behind Vettel when he came back out of the pit. So it was a great run. It was a really nail biting race for whoever you were rooting for.
Yeah,
So yeah, so 2017. Why don't you start us off on 2018? Another really good race. Really good race.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what my favorite moment was. Grosjean crashing under a safety car,
Yeah.
and then blaming Marcus Ericsson up and down, uh, and nobody touched him, and he's back in the garage throwing stuff. Just pretty hilarious. He did apologize after the fact, but
Yeah.
um, that guy's an interesting character.
Yeah, right. So he was driving for Haas at the time.
Yes, Haas.
He was in yeah, he was in 6th, like well up into the points, and then he just dropped it trying to heat up the tires right into the wall.
Yeah,
I
did he
know. That's such a
get a puncture or something? What caused him to do that? Because all of a
nope.
sudden it just turned right, and
No, he just dropped it. Just
yeah.
lit the tires a little too much, maybe a little too much gas. Didn't have as much grip as he thought he did, and put it right into the wall. For all the boneheaded mistakes that Grosjean has had, like he is actually like a really good driver, right? Like he's had some really good moments of brilliance in it, but he's so up and down. He's just not on that consistent plane of his full potential.
Well, I won't say he's done brilliantly in IndyCar. So
He had some pretty good moves in IndyCar, but
where's the results?
yeah, yeah, I know the overall season speaks for itself. um, I would say my favorite would be Ricardo and Max coming together down the front straight. I know. The thing is, right? Max and Ricardo, both at Red Bull, teammates, racing each other really hard, right? It's not like it just was happenstance in that one moment. They had been fighting for lap after lap after lap, trading places, trading like little touches with each other, and it all came to a head on lap 40 when Ricardo rear-ended Max Verstappen into turn one. The best part about that is like right when it happens, they cut to the pit wall, and Adrian Newey just like packs up his stuff in disgust and just leaves. uh, while Christian Horner is just sitting there dumbfounded.
Yeah, oddball, right? I mean, but those are the kind of things that, like you alluded to earlier, um, those are the kind of things that shake things up, right? And then you can end up with some interesting interesting results. You know, when you see some of the higher up teams, higher up runners uh, have those issues.
Yeah. But it was just kind of a bizarre event. I mean, you go back and watch it. It looks like Ricardo tries to sell the dummy on the right hand side. Max actually moves a little bit to the right and then immediately switches left to cover Ricardo off, which you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to move in the braking zone, which it looks like that's where they were. So it's really hard to say. If I had to put blame on somebody, it would definitely be more on Max than over Ricardo.
You only get one move, isn't that correct? Or no?
To defend,
Right.
yeah, you only get one move to defend. Um, so yeah, but I mean, there were other great moments in there. Like there was some first lap chaos. Kimi Räikkönen took out Esteban Ocon in turn 3, just a little aggressive. There was also Nico Hulkenberg. He crashed out, and that was self inflicted on his own. um, what else was there? Oh, Another crazy moment from that race, Valtteri Bottas, he's leading the race. He's going to win. And then on the very last lap, he gets a flat tire. Or 2 laps to go. There's 2 laps to go, and he gets a flat tire right into turn one. And so he has to lap the whole track with a puncture. And he gives the win over to Hamilton, his teammate. So I think the driver of the day, really, we need to talk about Fernando Alonso, because on lap one of one, he picked up some debris and got a puncture, made it all the way back to the pits, went a lap down, and then recovered to have a finishing position of seventh. Absolutely incredible from Fernando Alonso, his last year running at McLaren.
Yeah, wild, huh? Uh,
Yeah, absolutely.
and swearing the whole time. I think swearing for a
And
whole
swearing the whole time.
for a full lap.
Uh, incredible in more ways than one.
You
So,
talked a little
uh,
earlier about Bottas having that flat tire, but that allowed
yeah,
Sergio Perez, driving for Force India, to make it onto the podium, finish third that year.
yeah.
Pretty cool.
I
Force
should
India's
also
last
say,
year.
Force India's last year. I would should also say that Sergio Perez has always been historically really good at this track, because when it first debuted in 2016, he qualified P2. Um, but he had to start seventh due to a grid penalty. But he ended up finishing third on the podium. His like the first year the track was up. So he's always done historically really well at this track. The Minister of Defense.
Yeah,
It's going to be great to have him back. It's going to be great to have him back in next year. I'm super
I
excited
was
for
just
it.
thinking that exact same thing. It'll be exciting to see him coming on with Cadillac next year.
Yeah, him and Valtteri. Uh, oh, big expectations, but we'll see how it actually plays out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and then yeah, you said also 2021, right? What else you got for 2021? What are some of your favorite moments from that
Let's see,
race?
2021. Uh, well, the exciting thing was Vettel. Um,
Yeah,
Aston Martin. He missed Q3. He didn't even make it into Q3, and came back and had a podium finish. It was pretty great run. Um, well, due to some fortuitous things that happened ahead of him,
right.
uh, some accidents and whatnot. But Aston Martin's first year, and
Yeah, Aston Martin's first year.
but ended up with a podium finish at the end of the day after he had missed Q3, and when they were asking him ahead of the time, what do you think your odds are today, or um, you know how do you think it's going to go? He said, well, we're hoping to finish in the points, and but ended up on the podium. So um, part of that fortuitousness was Max crashing on lap 46.
Yeah, the sort of odd thing that race, right? Because there were two tire failures in the same race. Um, Lance Stroll, lap 31, while running in fourth in the Aston
Right,
Martin,
right.
he suffered a tire failure and had a tremendous crash at high speed, um, right before the pit entrance, and then uh, was it 15 laps later, Max suffers the same tire, the back left rear tire, having a failure and then crashing out on the front straight.
Yeah, wild, right? The Stroll's hit was big.
Stroll's hit
Um,
was, well, they were both pretty big, I think.
yeah,
Maybe Stroll's a little bit more dramatic. He had a full 360 involved in it. The thing about that is that's not something you can really predict, right? Like when it happens, it's so sudden, and when you're going, just shy of 200 miles an hour, there's nothing you can do.
Right, you're a passenger at that point.
You're exactly, and it's clearly evident. Like people, people initially were saying like, oh, like Lance Stroll, he can't keep the car straight, but then it happened to Max, and you're like, oh, well, maybe there's more to it than just than just the driver. So
Yeah.
something else I thought was kind of odd. So Charles Leclerc driving for Ferrari, he was on pole for the race, um, but he immediately drops back. He's just bleeding positions, and then um, he by lap 20, he's already down to sixth, and after everybody pits, he comes out in fifth. Like, but his drop down was immediate. I mean, I think it was within the first like 2 or 3 laps, he was already down 2 positions, and he was just bleeding. He was just bleeding positions.
Yeah. Well, wait, weird to be that slow kind of right off the bat after qualifying so well, right?
Right. But yeah, I think also that the other crazy moment was, so Max Verstappen brought out a red flag. They're getting ready to go again. They're gonna restart on lap fit to start lap 50 of 51, and Hamilton forgets to turn off his quote unquote what the McLaren team or Mercedes team call magic, right?
Right. It was basically turned off the bias to the rear brakes, I think is what it was.
Hmm.
And so head straight down. He was in first, head straight down, and can't get the car stopped to turn in and just blows straight through the corner, essentially.
Yeah, it goes way off into the runoff in turn one, giving Sergio Perez a clear path to victory. um, and Vettel's already in second at that point, like coming up behind Perez, and right behind him is Pierre Gasly. And Pierre
Yeah.
Gasly, man, to great credit to Pierre, he held off Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris uh, for 2 laps to bring it home in third to round out the podium. A very solid effort from Pierre.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
would say one of his better drives.
yeah, I was going to say with the Hamilton thing, he asked him like, what happened? I thought I had that switch on, and they said you did have it on, but in that run up to turn one, you somehow inadvertently turned it off. Like when he downshifting or whatever it was, he somehow hit that button and
I thought it was off, but he accidentally turned it back on. Is what it
oh,
was.
I thought it was the other way around.
I think it was he turned it off, and then maneuvering the shifting, he accidentally turned it back on or left it on. One of the two.
Well, whatever it was, what wasn't what he
Whatever
needed.
it was, yeah, it wasn't beneficial to him.
On or off.
um, yeah. So I would say those three races, like every race at Baku is a pretty good race, but I would say those three races are kind of the high points. I'm gonna go ahead and make a prediction that there's gonna be contact within the first 2 corners of the race.
I'm not sure how bold that is, but
It's a pretty safe bet. If I was a betting man, that'd be a pretty safe bet.
right, exactly. Uh, let's see. I think for the Italian Grand Prix, I think I said that Ferrari was going to be on the pole, and they were nowhere near that. But uh, I'm going to say this will be my kind of bold prediction. Russell's going to take a podium this weekend.
You think so, huh?
Probably third place, but I think he'll be up there on the podium this weekend.
That's a mighty uh it's not terribly bold, but it's a little bold. He hasn't really cracked the top four in a while.
Yeah, I
I
think
guess
he's
Hungary. I
due.
guess I
That's
guess
my
Hungary
whole
had.
thing.
Yeah, Hungary he was in third, but fourth is kind of where he's averaging out at the moment.
Yeah.
So If he can break through, maybe I don't know. Maybe the papayas will come together like they did in Canada.
Then it'll be
Anything can
wide
happen.
open. Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody is very familiar with Baku, in turns 1 and 2 at the very start of the race, those corners are very narrow. They're barely wide enough for one car to manage at full speed and to get two, and occasionally three cars try to get through the same corner, and it never works out. Is there any honorable mentions that you wanna mention before we close out?
Honorable mentions for this coming weekend.
For any previous weekends for Baku.
Oh, no, no. Actually, Grosjean crashing out was going to be my honorable mention because it was just such a weird story.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I would say the crash from last year, Carlos Sainz drifting into Perez and crashing right after turn two was
Yeah.
um, super surprising, especially when it was the second to last lap. Um, it was sort of a crazy chain of events, right? Leclerc defends successfully against Perez into turn one, but them kind of working against each other allowed Sainz to get by Perez. They come around turn two. Sainz doesn't have the speed that he needs, and Perez comes up along the left side of him, and Sainz not really realizing he's there, just kind of slowly, lazily drifts into him, and Perez doesn't bother to react at all, and they
Right.
just,
I
they just,
remember that
they just,
from last year.
yeah, they just take each other out. It was really sort of a bizarre incident because all Perez had to do was just lazily drift to the left as well, and it would have been fine. But
Right.
it all just kind of happened so fast.
Kind of
But
just failed to avoid him. Weirdly.
yeah, it was such a, I don't know. He's as an outsider, easily thing to avoid. So
Yeah.
easy thing to avoid. Um, but yeah, as it is. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me this evening. And as we always say, adios.
Adios.